we've talked about how to like scaffold, how to build harder skills earlier into your curriculum. We've talked about some ways that you can present that information to your students, but we haven't really talked about the other side of it, which is sort of how your students absorb that information. So one thing that we wanted to make sure that we talked about is learning styles. So different people have different ideas about what learning styles are and whether they're useful. So what do we mean by learning styles? Does anyone have an idea?
Like when they learn by rote or sight or hear, auditory.
Right, so some people are more visual, some people like to hear things. What are some of the other? Kinesthetic, which, right, people, some people like to manipulate things and make it happen with their hands. Are there any other ones? You guys can pick up.
Different learning styles.
Yeah. So another one that is, another one, and something that we've tried to do a little bit today, is some people are more like individual learners. Some people like to learn like by themselves, sitting, doing it by themselves. Other people, like Paul said earlier, like to work in groups and discover things together and teach each other. So that's another learning style. So Jess and I have a really fun activity where we're going to look at some different. We're going to take a topic and look at some different ways that you can sort of present that information and get at different people's learning styles. So I just handed out a resource sheet, and I'm not going to go through it because I know everybody knows how to read. So it just has a couple different resources. I particularly like the last one. And if you ever have time on like a Friday afternoon and you want to, do a really cool module. This is a module on something called the Universal Design for Learning, which is the idea that, a lot of people talk about differentiation and they talk about how you can teach to different people's learning styles and differentiate your curriculum in that way. But the Universal Design for Learning is the idea that that should just be automatically built into your curriculum from the beginning, so that on any given topic you're presenting that information to multiple different types of learning styles, and you're allowing students to show you that they know how to do it through different types of products. And it seems like an overwhelming thing to do to like change your curriculum, but this module is free, and it has a lot of really cool ideas for how you can like take small steps towards sort of differentiating in that way. Uh-oh. So now we're going to do like a multiplication activity to sort of show some of the different ones.
All right, so what I have done is I've passed out to a couple tables, and I've forgotten who I've passed it out to. Does your table have something? Okay. So we are going to give you guys a couple of your folks. All right. So who feels like getting up and moving right now? All right. Take one. And then Heather, I'm going to target you. You guys are going to do some skill drill. You can choose if you want to do area or multiplication. Alright?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a demonstration of how you can teach the same skill to different learning styles.
So, what each of your tables has, you two, I want to work with the flashcards, as you know. Each of your tables or each of your pairs of people has an activity that is starred. This is a whole list of activities that I came up with for differentiating learning multiplication or practicing multiplication. I've used all of these in my classes and a whole lot more besides. So this is not by any means an exhaustive list, but it's an example of how you can practice a skill in a lot of different ways so that your learners can learn it in a lot of different ways and build those neural pathways and strengthen those neural pathways in a lot of different manners. So we'll take 5 minutes for you to do your activity, and while you're doing it, what I'd like you guys to do is actually think about what you like, what you don't like, if you have students who would benefit from this kind of activity, and if any other activities pop to mind that you think you could do around this topic that we didn't hit. So we'll take 5 minutes.